I think Hannah's words in this episode during that argument exposed that Iris and herself and probably TJ are the actual villains of this season. So I watched episodes 3 and 4 of Love Island Beyond the Villa season 2. Well, I skimmed episode 3 and watched episode 4. Episode 3, not great. If you're not invested in Taylor and Clarke, it's not exactly a hot episode to watch. So I kind of skimmed through that one to get through the drama so I could just talk about both episodes today. Because if I was just talking about episode 3, I think I would have a lot to say. But I guess we should touch upon Taylor and Clarke and their goofy ass relationship first of all, where we still have the same storyline where Clarke wants to be a city girl, move to LA, kind of get with the influencer thing because she was on Love Island and all of that. Taylor, as we know, he's a country boy. He wants her to stay in Oklahoma with him and his horses. And yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, Clarke is wanting to get back into cheerleading, but I still feel like I've always felt about this couple, both on the show, both on social media, and now on this show. I do not get why Clarke is even in this relationship in the first place. I feel like their communication is very awkward. I feel like Taylor feels as though he is 100% the prize in this relationship and that he is going to get a bunch of women, if Clarke leaves, a bunch of women that want to come to his farm and shovel shit with him because that's the prize in all of this. That's how it really feels from Taylor's point of view. Even though I don't disagree with his argument against Clarke moving to LA, that rent is very expensive. As someone who lived there for 4 years, rent is very expensive. And so Clarke doesn't really have this financial plan of what she's going to do when she gets there. And it's not like she's really that popular coming off of this season of Love Island. So if Clarke really does want to live in LA and be an influencer, I kind of agree with Taylor that she does need more of a game plan. But it doesn't seem like she ever moved to LA from what I've gathered on social media. So I think Taylor is going to get his way with this. And Clarke can be with her prize Taylor, since that's what Taylor thinks that he is. The only other thing that really happened in episode 3 was Amaya and Brian having their meetup, and she called him out on how their relationship didn't seem to be a priority to Brian when they first left the villa, and then they were intimate and he broke up with her. Brian said that he had a mask on both for her and other people in the house when he was on the show, and he couldn't communicate it, and he spiraled after he left the show. We got some confessional from Brian lying and saying that sex is important to him so he can understand how she feels about the way he did her. And then he did admit to Amaya, I guess, that he could have done shit better, and that all of the club stuff that he did after leaving the show because of fame and whatnot made them both look bad. And Amaya agreed that the fame got to Brian pretty quick. But I think that's what Brian wanted all along. If you look at the end of the season of Love Island season 7, Brian knew, a lot of them knew, that Amaya was popular with the fan base. And so that is why Brian did decide to put the moves on Amaya. I don't know if it was necessarily to win the game, but that's kind of what it felt like to me. And so, I mean, all I thought watching this first episode is I hope that Love Island Season 7 gets back to couples with chemistry. Because even though I was fine with Amaya winning, I can't do another season of let's feel sorry for some of the cast members and vote for them to win instead of the best couple. We've gotten a little too far away from that because of TikTok. Anyway, glad they had their conversation. Maya, I think, dealt with it very well. But I wanted to get to the next episode, episode 4, because of the Palm Springs trip that Belle-A, Chris, and Brian all planned to have. Charlie was going to be the person coming in, especially for this episode. And there has been tension between Charlie and Hannah since they left the show. I guess Charlie felt some kind of way at the reunion because Hannah was seeming way more closer to Pepe than Charlie, even though Hannah made such a big deal when Charlie left the villa. And I think Charlie was feeling like that was all fake, probably because it was all fake from Hannah. Hannah's great with the fake tears. We saw them again in episode 4, just like we saw them so much in at the villa during all of that drama and whatnot. And I'm surprised because Charlie did not bring anything to Love Island season 7, and Charlie did not bring anything to Love Island games, but he finally brought some drama to this show, and good for him. He's like the only person with a good read so far this entire show. So yeah, there was all this tension between Charlie and Hannah because of Hannah's love triangle with Charlie and Pepe during that show. And it's just so ironic that Hannah just hates Pepe now, even though at the reunion she was being so fake for Iris's sake, allegedly, because I guess her and Iris are just the closest of friends. Well, it all led to this awkward dinner on the Palm Springs trip, and Hannah decided to bring up to Charlie that he wasn't happy with her at the reunion, and she's not happy that he continues to go on podcasts and kind of talk shit about her. Charlie said to Hannah's face that he felt like she was being fake after the reunion or at the reunion because there was just nothing between them. So he feels like she was fake on the show with him. Hannah is upset because of not only Charlie's podcast appearances, but I guess Austin has gone on podcasts calling her a snake for how she did Charlie. And Charlie brought up the good point that he and Austin are friends, much like Hannah and Iris are friends, and that's why Hannah hates Pepe now. Charlie was bringing up facts in this argument, and frankly, Hannah and later Iris were not doing good with facts. And as this argument continued to go along, it proved me right about what I said in the first 2 episodes that I reviewed from this season, with the show, or at least this cast on the show, trying to say that Pepe is the villain of the season. He's just such a bad guy. He's just such a big villain because TJ goes and opens his doofus mouth during this argument and says that Charlie was telling Iris that TJ is too young for her and it would never work. And so Charlie again brought up facts that Iris and Pepe were saying that TJ's TikToks were awkward and weird, and that Iris was saying that they were putting her off of TJ. Charlie actually said he was sticking up for TJ when he was saying that TJ was young, and that's why he was making the TikToks that he was making. And Charlie brought up the fact that Pepe and Iris were saying that TJ's TikToks were cringe. And Iris was gagged because Iris only said, "Oh, that's not a big deal," as she was stumbling over her words to say, "That's not a big deal. You know, we've talked about that." Clearly it was awkward. Clearly Iris and TJ, they probably brought it up. I think when Iris brought it up, it was to villainize Pepe like she was doing everything else. But the big thing came when dumbass Hannah got heated during this confrontation, got heated at Charlie for, trying to question why Iris and Pepe broke up. She went off on Charlie saying, don't bring up Iris or some shit. But what she actually said during this heated confrontation was that Iris did not know how to get out of a situation and get out of that relationship, which to me 100% exposed that Iris was always trying to get out of whatever her and Pepe were, and that Iris always wanted to be with TJ. And so, Pepe going on podcasts saying that Iris had a cheating scandal, she probably did with TJ. I think Hannah's words in this episode during that argument exposed that Iris and herself and probably TJ are the actual villains of this season. And I feel like I was right in depicting that the last two times that I reviewed this show, because clearly it's not Pepe. I don't know if the show was trying to edit it a certain way. I don't actually think it was. I think that this clique on this cast, and there is definitely a clique, it's a clout clique. The clique on this cast was trying to say that Pepe was the big villain to cheer behind Iris, because there is a bit of a hierarchy in this clout clique. It's obviously Amaya at the top. You can't mess with Amaya. She is was at one point the fan favorite. And then you have some of the other people like Iris and I guess TJ now, and then Hannah, and Clarke's there somewhere. There is a hierarchy, and the more this episode went along, we saw it. We saw Belle-A stick up for Charlie, saying that when Belle-A had been on podcasts, they of course always bring up who she was involved with on Love Island, Nick, on her podcast. So of course they bring up Hannah when Charlie is on a podcast, because that's who Charlie's villa experience was. And then Hannah had a breakdown. Typical Hannah style. All these tears just to be a victim. It was tears to be a victim so that she could run off and so that she can get away from the situation. Because Hannah was more than happy to try and call out Charlie in front of the group. But when it turned back on her, she couldn't handle it. And her only way out was the victim tears. So yeah, this episode proved who the real villains are, in my opinion. It also proved the hypocrisy, not just with the group when it comes to Jeremiah and Belle-A, but more especially with the fans, because I've seen people call Belle-A a pick-me because she's closer to the guys, and she's trying to, mend some relationships. They're saying Bella's irrelevant. Why is she trying to play the middle when she's really just trying to fix relationships? But I don't see anybody calling out Jeremiah for the exact same thing. Jeremiah is playing both sides, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to call Jeremiah fake, because I also get along better with women, or it's easier for me to get along better with women when it comes to friendships than men, actually, because I can sit here and talk shit about reality shows with women. But Jeremiah is definitely going overboard trying to help the women sometimes, to where I can't tell if it's real and that's just how Jeremiah really is, or if he is just someone in this clout clique who is also trying to stay with the clout and be good with all the women in the clique. Anyway, as the episode went along, Belle-A talked about how she has dealt with in her life being dropped by friends, and she feels like Hannah dropped her once Iris got out of the show and came back to real life. And Belle-A feels more included with the guys, since the girls don't really include her. And they don't include her because they can't get clout off of her. She was only on the show the first 5-6 days of the show. She's an original cast member, though. I feel like she's actually more relevant than some people give her credit for. But she found herself having to be in this episode more so with Coco and Grayson, who are very irrelevant after coming in at Casa Amor. And they all talked about the group dynamic at the party and how there is this you can't sit with this mentality from the clout clique. And yeah, obviously Grayson and Coco are irrelevant. Even to me, I find them irrelevant. So of course they're not going to be a part of the clout clique. And, Belle-A falls into that too. They can't actually get clout off of them. Although I find it very ironic that there is a clout clique on this show, even though they have to have this show to try and stay relevant after their Love Island season. It ended well, I guess, for Hannah and Charlie. They did hug in the end, but I do think this episode did a really good job of exposing the actual dynamics among this group, how there is a clout clique, and who's in it and who's not, who's trying to stay in it, Jeremiah. And it also exposed who the real villains are. More importantly, Hannah exposed it during that argument when she basically said that Iris was looking for a way out of her relationship with Pepe. And now Pepe just has to be the big villain. We're finally going to get some Pepe and Iris scenes and TJ in the next episode. We'll see how the show tries to depict who the villain is there. But they already exposed who really is in episode 4. Not looking forward to drama between Grayson and Austin. Like, is there anyone out there? Is there one single person out there who gives a little of a fuck about drama between Grayson and Austin? I would be shocked if there's even just one person out there.